All right, so the commies are back, baby. They are back in town. They're going to Washington, D.C. I know it's a little late. These people won their elections a couple weeks ago, but I didn't want to ruin everybody's 4th of July by talking about how we're all going to have to suffer through some of the stupidest things we've ever heard on the House floor, but it's going to be coming. Whatever you think you've heard on the House floor that you thought, man, that nothing could top that. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Worse is coming. Okay. Because you had some people win in New York City who were endorsed by Mayor Mamdani. These people are Democratic Socialists, whatever the hell that actually means. These are just people that think they're entitled to all your stuff because they don't see themselves like a communist like Stalin. They're going to allow you to vote for them. And then when you do vote for them, then they have the legitimacy to come steal all your shit. Very different than Joseph Stalin, who, just seized power and then stole everybody's shit. So very important distinction, DSA versus the actual communists like the USSR. So make sure you remember that. Because these people were elected, they're entitled to all your stuff. They're going to come to your house with guns and throw you in a jail cell if you don't listen to them, because now they're entitled to everything you have and you are just their slave. So let's look back to 2016 to figure out how we got here. The populist wave was coming. Donald Trump was still a fringe figure in politics. Bernie Sanders was running for president as well in the primary against Hillary Clinton, and he was doing really well. And then Trump started to climb in the polls too, based on him shit talking Jeb Bush and all the other establishment guys. Because again, this populist wave predated Bernie Sanders' rise to fame. He was still in the Senate, but he wasn't as popular as he was. And then Donald Trump's rise to the presidency. And we know that this is true, that it predated either one of these candidates because the tide lifted them both at the same time. This wasn't a left-right thing. It wasn't like just Donald Trump became popular and then people said, hey, let's give this 80-year-old socialist Bernie Sanders a shot on the left. They had their rise at the exact same time, and it was a response to Barack Obama. But two very different things happened. The left crushed Bernie Sanders. They railroaded him. The Democratic Party did. They were feeding Hillary Clinton debate questions. They were screwing with the way the votes are tallied at the convention. They did everything they could to undermine Bernie Sanders. And so his campaign ends up getting buried. He sells out and endorses Hillary Clinton, and the populist left is repressed. And they end up being repressed for 10 years, up until recently. The populist right ends up winning. It's Donald Trump. And the Republican Party wasn't strong enough to bury him despite them trying. So we've had 10 years from 2016 to now, 2026, where the populist left wasn't a thing. All the people that were the really strong populists switched from Bernie Sanders voters to Trump voters. And now Trump has betrayed the populists, and the left-wing faction of the populists are back. And it's coincided with an interesting phenomenon too. They are back at the exact same time that the Democrats are without any real leadership. Nancy Pelosi has retired. Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer are the leaders in the House and Senate, and they are both completely incompetent. They're getting destroyed by these younger Democratic Socialist types. The Mamdani is essentially the leader of the Democratic Party at this point. So they were repressed for 10 years. Then the Democratic leadership gets washed out by Donald Trump in 2024, and it leaves this power vacuum. The young Democratic Socialists come in and fill it. That brings us to where we are today, where 7 Mamdani-backed candidates win their primaries in New York. And we've got a few really extreme ones here for you. But first, let's take a little listen to our first one, Daraliza Avila Chevalier, a wonderful, wonderful lady who won her primary, which in New York City, if you win your Democrat primary, you're going to be in Congress. So this woman is going to have a seat in Congress. Let's take a little listen to her and one of the other gentlemen we'll be talking about. Let's hear him talk about who they're rooting for in the World Cup. And this is before they won. So this is where they're running for office in the United States. United States is in the World Cup. Who could they possibly be rooting for?
In a MetLife Stadium taking place in New Jersey, even though some people say it is technically New York. But what do you think will win it all? Who are you rooting for?
Oh, I like Mexico.
Mexico, there you go.
I'm rooting for Senegal.
Senegal, okay.
So there you go. There you have it. Senegal and Mexico. That last lady is Miss Chevalier, who is a self-described democratic socialist. She, for some reason, isn't rooting for America. That's kind of weird when you're running. If you're running for office in a country, it just seems pretty obvious to say you want that country to win the World Cup. But hating America is a democratic socialist hallmark. We'll talk a little bit more about why that is. It's just so crazy that she could go on TV and just say that so confidently. And even the interviewers not like asking the follow-up question, like, hey, that's weird. You didn't say United States. I don't think she's Senegalese. She doesn't look like she's from Senegal. She didn't like explain like, oh, my family's from Senegal. They're the underdog and, I want to root for them. No, they're fellow travelers and, they're some oppressed people or something. So she's going to root for them, another country, which is weird. Like, it's almost on the level of like being a traitor, right? Like if you're just actively rooting for another country against your own country, like I get that it's soccer, but she undoubtedly feels that way about everything. Like I have no doubt that she would hope the Senegalese military would defeat ours if they were in a conflict or something. She probably hopes the Iranian military defeats ours, because I don't think that she's a real American. If you're not going to even root for your country in a soccer game, I mean, why run for office? But whatever. Maybe she just, let's give her the benefit of the doubt. Let's just say it wasn't her greatest moment. She's actually, we'll say she loves America for now. And let's just look at a few more of her statements. We got some quotes here from her. This lady won the New York 13th Congressional District, and she made a name for herself. She's a young lady. But during the 2020 election, she was calling Joe Biden a rapist and a war criminal, which is a weird thing to do to your party. So not a standard Democrat, okay? She has a lot of really weird views. She is anti-interracial marriage, which is weird. She's criticized black men and Arab men for fetishizing ugly colonizer women, referring to white women. For some reason, I mean, it's so weird. This is like horseshoe theory politics where, it's not like the far right is way over here and the far left is way over here and their policies are, as different as they could possibly be. The horseshoe theory says, hey, you go far enough right, you eventually wrap back around and meet with the far left. And the evidence of that is you've got a lady like this who prescribes her. She's a democratic socialist. She's a lefty. And she's got the same views on interracial marriage that the KKK has. It's insane that she could just say stuff like this in public and just feel no shame. And the media doesn't grill her on it, nothing. They're like, oh, who quoted that? Whose quote is this? Is it David Duke's or is it Chevalier's? Who cares if it's her? Why not? So then she ends up saying some more crazy shit. She's like, no more police at all, ever. This is during BLM. And then when another leftist commented on her tweet saying, this is just hyperbole. We know you don't really mean this. She responded and said, no, it means ending policing, full stop, period. No more police at all, ever, with a bunch of clapping hand emojis like a girl on TikTok would do. Not a serious politician, of course. So she was one of those BLM lefties who just said, hey, we don't need police anymore. Gangsters can run the streets. People can get shot and killed. No problem. Because she lives in New York City, which is famously safe. So you could understand why she wouldn't want any more police. Or not, whatever. She then hits us with a weird one. She said, Israel doesn't exist, which a lot of these hardcore leftists say like Israel shouldn't exist or something, which again is wrong. But she says it doesn't exist, which is just a denial of reality. But okay, whatever. So this lady's, I don't know. She's a couple cards short of a deck. I don't know if she's just unhinged, if she's like kind of evil. Like if you're just against, police existing at all, you're like evil on a certain level. You're pro anarchy. And it's not like she's making some libertarian argument where, a strong Second Amendment and property rights, would result in the reduction or needing a lot less police. That's not what she's saying. She's saying like we should just end all policing, no Second Amendment. You're never able to defend yourself, and gangsters are going to run everything and destroy your property. That way they can justify bigger government. No idea how she planned on implementing any of that, but whatever. None of this. She's going to be a politician. She doesn't actually have to do anything or implement any of this. And it's kind of better that way. I mean, it would be pretty scary if she really did have the means to do any of this, which thankfully she does not. She then, when Trump got elected and was pushing building the wall again, she tweeted, literally abolish the border. All deportation is wrong. And we're going to go to a clip here where she expounds upon that idea just a little bit.
I'll ask about two tweets specifically because I think they are relevant to the race. The first is all deportation is wrong. Now, in Congress, obviously, that comes with a lot of questions about immigration enforcement. And even as Democrats might agree with calls that you have shared to things like abolish ICE, I don't know if they're necessarily there on things like all deportation is wrong. Is that something you still believe?
That phrase, yes. I still believe that all deportations are wrong. And
even if we're talking about illegal entry to the country or someone who may have committed a crime?
so when we're talking about things like illegal entry, or we're actually talking about administrative laws, right? We're not talking about criminal law.
Let me concede the question of people who have not committed a crime, because I think that that's not really the question at hand. Like, if we're saying all deportation is wrong, though, that would seem to also include people who were convicted of breaking U.S. criminal law. Is the deportation of those people wrong?
Yes. And the reason I say that is because we have a criminal system. It is imperfect.
It's insane. Just all the way. Like, I can't even believe that this interviewer just kind of sits through this and he does that weird feminine head fake thing. I don't know why he does. This guy's weird. But she's going to go on here to talk about how, we have a criminal system and we have an immigration system. And if you break the immigration law, whatever. It doesn't matter if you're a child predator or a murderer, you come here and kill Americans. Whatever. We're not going to deport you. It's just such a weird, like she's pro other countries, okay? Like she already admitted she's rooting for Senegal in the World Cup. So if she's pro these other countries, why should their people come here and commit crimes and not be sent back? If she loves Senegal so much, the people who come here legally from Senegal should just be sent back automatically. We'd be doing them a favor because Senegal's great. But why do we have to let rapists stay here and human traffickers and murderers stay? It doesn't make any goddamn sense. Her argument is stupid.
But it exists. And it is one that if we accept as the process by which we want to engage with these issues, right? The issues of harm, issues of criminality, what have you, then we need to make sure that it is one that isn't also discriminatory on the basis of where people were born.
We have to make sure our law isn't discriminatory based on where people were born. What does this even mean? How? She's just saying we shouldn't have a country. She's just saying, we can't have immigration laws. Because if we do have immigration laws, that's discriminatory based on where people were born. Under her logic, we should just be able to go to any country we want and commit any crimes we want, and they can't deport us. We just have a right to go to any country we want to and murder and kill anybody we want. And then we'll just be subject to their criminal law. It has nothing to do with that we never should have been there in the first place. This lady is actually nuts.
right? To subject someone who has committed a crime to both a criminal system and then additionally to an immigration system that also detains them in the very same facilities that people who are convicted of criminal convictions are also held, right? And then deported and ripped away from everything they know and love, that is also punishment. And that is punishment not on the basis of the crime they committed, because they already served their time when they were processed through the criminal system.
Punishment.
It is double punishment. And if
Accept that her argument's true there. It's not fucking double punishment. It's even double jeopardy, okay? Which is where you're tried twice for the same crime. But that's not what's going on here. If you break immigration law and come here, that's a crime. I don't care if she wants to call it administrative law or civil law. That is still a crime. You still go to jail for it. You can still be deported for it. And then you commit another crime. You rape somebody. Yeah, you're going to be punished for that too. And then you're going to be deported because you broke this other law. You should be punished twice because you committed two crimes. It's just like if you jaywalked and then you punched somebody in the face and assaulted them. And then you're mad like, well, you can't give me the ticket for jaywalking because I punched somebody in the face. If you punish me twice, that's double jeopardy. You can't do that. It's just a ridiculous legal theory that makes no sense.
we truly believe that double jeopardy is something that is unconstitutional, something that is unethical, something that is against the principles of equality in this country, we cannot subject people to that on the basis of where they were born.
I want to still ask about.
So she's saying here, you get a free pass. You commit two crimes, you get a free pass because, yeah, otherwise it's discriminatory based on where you were born. We can't have immigration under her theory. No immigration law could ever be legitimate anywhere, which again doesn't make any sense. She's rooting for Senegal. Senegal must be great. Let's send all the people who come here from Senegal back to Senegal because it's awesome, and she's rooting for them. So what are we doing? Taking all their great people. They belong back in their own country, making their country great, or committing whatever crimes they want to there. She can espouse her crazy legal theories and apply them in Senegal all she likes, because whatever laws she thinks she lives under is probably closer to Senegal's laws than our laws. So I don't know what the hell she's even talking about. And so she says in a tweet she threw up that we're going to abolish the border, meaning we don't have a country. Because if you don't have a border, you don't have a country. Like if you just think about that for a second, people are just allowed to come and go whenever they want. As a democracy, you have no right to define who comes in and makes up your civilization or not. You don't have a real civilization anymore. You're just one big globalist conglomeration of whoever was able to get here the fastest and take advantage of our welfare system. So she is already on, and all this stuff just kind of seems like superficial, like it's just kind of lefty, garbage. Like she's just a social justice warrior. It's like, oh man, abolish the border, bring all the poor people here, give them all the money. But if you look at all of her statements together, it's a lot more calculated than that. These leftists don't believe that their socialist utopia can exist as long as there is a capitalist safe haven somewhere for rich people to flee to. So she has to get rid of the United States as the richest country in the world, bring all the poor people here. That way, all the entitlements and everything will be so spread out that everybody, all the rich people are all brought down to the level of the poorest people from all over the world. Keep just using Senegal as an example. The people here in America shouldn't be any richer than the people in Senegal in her world view, because that's not fair. The United States is a bunch of colonizers. We stole all this wealth. It really belongs to the people, the workers of the world, and nobody should be richer than anybody else. There's no way to take the billions of really poor people in this world and lift them up. So she's got to take the richest people, Americans, and drag them down. And the best way to do that is just to destroy America altogether, to just completely get rid of its borders and destroy any semblance of what it means to be American. So that's her worldview. And Karl Marx talked about this in the Communist Manifesto. That's why he advocated for a global workers' revolution, because it had to be global to exist. It couldn't just be in one country or a block of countries like the Soviet Union, because then people could always flee. Money could always make it out. There'd always be this other side of the Berlin Wall that the socialist people would be able to see and then think, man, you know, that really is nice. I'd really like to live in a society like that. So that's why these leftists have to destroy the West and have to destroy the people and the culture we have. We'll take a quick break and then we'll go to another video here. All right, we're back and let's check out this video, see what kind of plans these people actually have for governing. Let's check it out. These are fine, smart people, democratic socialists, of course.
And we have a unique responsibility to act from the heart of empire, the belly of the beast. The most important thing that we can do is take that empire down from within.
Our role ultimately is to facilitate our own empire's failure in ways that we can, ultimately to overthrow our own empire.
So there you go. You got it right here. This dude's gonna overthrow the empire from the inside. That's their whole plan.
U.S. imperialism is not a thing that can be reformed away. It has to be overthrown through revolutionary struggle.
And to build a mass movement that can use the leverage of workers to hit the kill switch on American imperialism here within the American empire.
So that's it out of their own mouths. That's what DSA wants to do, is overthrow America from the inside by democracy, which has happened before, famously to some other republics in Europe. Just take it over from the inside. Use democracy. Overthrow the empire. Destroy it, and then we'll build a workers' revolution afterwards with whatever's left, of course, after they strip you of all your rights, steal all your property, kill you and your family if you dissent to any of it, starve you with intentional famine, all the kind of stuff they did in Russia. Just those few things. That's all they're going to be doing. It's incredible.